Some of the challenges that are there it's in some of the communities, you still find an issue with mobile penetration in order, because once you bring about mobile penetration into that particular community, you are enabling them. Some of the challenges that are there is also the uptake of the technology in order for it to enable certain things. For example, we are still battling in South Africa with the when your driver's license has expired, there's still one place and a line that you need to go and take, and you have to take the entire day of a leave to go and do that. But the technology is there that we can say, okay, go to an existing supermarket and go and get that, for example. These are the challenges that are there. And the youth have found ways in order to be able to do that. And it's just the stakeholders, politicians, are finding it harder to, not all of them, but at least they're finding it harder to enable. Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Value Seller Talks with Deepak Bajaj, where we meet the visionaries transforming communities with innovation, integrity, and impact. Our guest today is George, an independent technical expert and leader whose mission goes beyond technology. It is about developing lives and strengthening communities across Africa. With a career spanning of over 25 years, global technology leader in the companies like Pros, Comscope, Nokia, and many technology giants, George has built a reputation for combining technical mastery with a deep sense of purpose. His journey reflects a rare balance of industry expertise as well as a commitment to empowering people of Africa. Geo's leadership is defined by five powerful objectives, which we will discuss as we move forward. But he's taking us time and he's inspiring a lot of Africans within his community to take some extra steps so that they can also grow and serve back to the country. He comes from a beautiful South Africa and where his heart and his soul belongs to, but he is a global player. So today we welcome his perspective on what is stopping Africa from becoming a global leader, what are his thoughts, his ambition, how it's aligned with African growth, and what he is contributing back to the society for the Africa success. Welcome, George, on the sets.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. It's good to be here. Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah.
George, if I go with your list of achievements, it will be taking a long, the full session, right? But first of all, thank you for taking out
Yes.
your time. And before we dive deeply into your achievements, you as a personality, just tell us, know or let us know who is George as a person.
Yeah, as a person, I am a innovator of choice, a person who extremely like to dive deeper into communication and make sure that we get the world talking and working in a team or as a cohesive format. I'm a lover of sports, a family man, a father of two. And I like technology in all its spheres and what it has brought to us up to this point. Yeah. And besides that, I also believe in travel and also to see the beauty and sparseness of the earth, and therefore be able to see how different communities embrace each other regardless of our diverse backgrounds. Yeah,
Mm.
that's just me in a nutshell.
No, no, you covered everything in a short, in a small statement. But yes, it's
Yeah.
a thanks for bringing. So when you say travel, so
Mm.
is it are you're a traveler by choice or is by profession?
Yeah, but traveler by choice and profession. So it's both because by choice, it is more with regards to the sport of cycling that allows me to move from place to place. as one is able to explore different towns and villages of South Africa, in this case, at least for now. Perhaps maybe one day I will be able to see places like Spain and France, where the big cycling championships do take place, at least just to see that. But by profession, which is work-wise, I have been able to at least find myself visiting different countries in the world. So in Africa, for that matter, I have been to almost all of them, except only two countries. And sadly, they are very closer than how far Egypt is from South Africa or Morocco. But these are all part of the work spheres that has allowed the traveling to happen in order for me to be able to grow as an individual from a career perspective. Yeah. Mhm.
Mm, I love to listen how you see what is the
Mm.
how if anyone like a known person want to visualize how the South Africa looks
Mm.
like. Can you explain that for them?
Yeah.
How beautiful is this? How what is this
South
culture
Africa
all
is a
about?
landscape. South Africa is a landscape filled with or alive with a lot of possibilities. It's a landscape whereby if you want to go to the cold South Africa, you would visit the highlands of Lesotho slash the southern Free State, southeastern Free State, which is more to the center of South Africa. You want to experience the heat of Mumbai, India, then you go to the Northern Cape. That's where you find Sahara Desert, a semi-arid environment, which is flat and hot. Then you want to
Mm,
experience the Indian Ocean, which is more a Bahamas type of feel, and the Indian, so the beach life, the holiday type of mindset. You visit Devon. Then you want to visit an environment that it looks like a Paris and New York all in one. And then you go to Cape Town. That's where you find
mm,
the combination of Paris, Milan, and all that all in one. Or you want to go to a busy place like a New York specifically, then you go to
mm.
Johannesburg, which is where I'm based. So that's pretty much South Africa. And then we add a little bit of spice here and there, the vegetation of Free State, the marsh lush environment of northern South Africa, which is called Limpopo province. So that's pretty much South Africa. Everything in one country. Mm.
Thank you for making that whole picture, in a very beautiful articulation way. I'm pretty much
Yeah.
sure the 50,000 people who are connected with us, and most
Yeah.
of them has a to-do list to visit to South Africa, and you have given a
Please.
compulsion event, then why they should come and why and how the variety they can see within this beautiful country. I've been there a
Mm.
number of times, and I
Yes.
understand what you're saying each
Yes.
and
Yes.
everything. But yes, thanks
Mm.
for
Mm.
making it and giving
Mm.
a real picture.
No, true. That's true. Yes. We
Uh,
welcome them in advance.
I'm sure. Thank you. George, how you transition into the technology world?
Well, I was first to start off in technology more as a trainee from university, and then from that, then one was able to meet up with much more bigger things. At least at the time, it was radio frequency environment. Since I studied electrical engineering, electrotechnical engineering for that matter, and then transitioned into meeting cellular environment, which is the birth of the cellular 1G and 2G. This is back in 1995, 96 years. And then from that, then started building blocks towards the next phases of what the cellular environment was. And that was for me the beginning and the birth of my meeting with the technological environment. A lot of things at the time were still a lot more newer. So things like your web portals and GPRS, the names that are already just normal common jargons now. And one was able to meet with technology from that early phase and be able to see it transact, or shall I say, grow over the years up to this point. Yes. So that for me was a very good introduction, surrounded by different types of people that were able to act as pillars to help support me to rise up. Yes.
And now you're giving it back to the society in training them, educating the masses, which is
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
which you are
Yeah.
taking a special time.
Yeah, so now the training them before training them, I had to be schooled first about how technology really comes about, and later I've someone in my mentorship or mentoring came through and says, I think you would do well as a trainer, because you seems to be very technology. For me, sort of was born into wanting to impart it back into the community and share that common knowledge to the community as well. And that's, I think, the eloquent speaker in me started, and then the teaching started. And then in teaching, you are able to also learn a lot also yourself. Yeah.
Africa is known for a growing youth population, right? So when the youth is getting, is becoming dominant, then the environment is totally different. So how you define the behavior of youth, especially from an African context?
I think the youth of today needs to be embracing the advancements of where technology is, and also in terms of the new tools that are now becoming common from the AI perspective,
Mm,
even beyond the AI coming into being, but at least the youth today needs to embrace the presence of technology and be able to use that as best as possible to advance Africa's youth agenda, which is that one of leader in technologies and a leader in innovations as well, and be able to keep technologies alive in order to enhance the society that which Africa is living under, and also the socio-economic factors that are impacting us as Africa. There's huge challenges around that sphere as well.
mm.
Mm, yeah.
Hmm. And if I ask about the learning capability or the potential of youth, African youth, how you rate them? Are they, they are how well, how easy they are welcoming the new technologies, or how they are playing with the technologies, how they are building the
Yeah.
innovation.
Yeah. So the intake of the technology in the African youth is quite high. You see it with the presence of ever presence of smart technologies or smart phones themselves and the usage thereof. You see it also when you go to meet youth in schools as well as in universities, how they are able to use that to build small apps that can be able to do things in order to enhance our society. So the they are, if I rate them, I score them a 10. They are my people. They're very innovative. There's just about an app for almost everything into
Mm,
this as well. So that in itself tells you the hunger is there, the appetite is there. We the elders in society needs to make sure that we help them navigate and channel the knowledge how or the know-how in the proper mindset to make sure that we are able to feed the streams where the hunger is and be able to address the technological challenges of our communities, as different as they may be. Mhm.
That's a
Yeah,
very important point which you mentioned,
yeah,
because they are innovators, they are adopting the technology, they are
mm,
creating, and
mm, mm,
because every
mm,
region,
mm,
every country has their own
mm,
challenge, and
mm.
if they are bringing a technology and using it, I'm pretty much sure
Yeah.
that will be the upliftment of the and the it's needed to change the position of Africa in the global market.
Correct. So up to now, in our generation, we were only the consumers of the technology, and we
Mm,
probably never thought that we can actually take it up and be able to use it or advance our own agenda as Africa. To
mm,
this point, the new generation of the 2000 generation are able to innovate from scratch, given the tools as minimal as they can to go forward with it. They actually are a positive embrace of what we stood for, and they are the image of what we would like the future generation to actually look like on the technological sphere itself.
mm. It's a very important message which you have given, is the
Mm,
positivity towards the technology, positivities
mm,
towards, but technology is an enabler, right? But
yeah.
their end goal is clear, where they have to move and
Mm,
what problem they are going to solve. Why they use it
mm,
with the technology or with the help
mm,
of the uh,
mm,
producing the technology, domestic technology for
yeah.
its own use and for the
Mm.
masses is important.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
So if I look from there, we talk about the challenges. So what are the challenges which you still see, which has to be worked around? And once we identify the challenge, definitely there is opportunities across around
Mhm.
it. So do you want to share a few?
I think some of the challenges that are there are it's in some of the communities you still find an issue with mobile penetration in order, because once you bring about mobile penetration into that particular community, you are enabling them.
Hmm.
Some of the challenges that are there is also the uptake of the technology in order for it to enable certain things. For example, we are still battling in South Africa with the when your driver's license has expired, there's still
Hmm.
one place and a line that you need to go and take, and you have to take the entire day of a leave to go and do that. But the technology is there that we can say, okay, go to an existing supermarket and go and get that, for example. These are the challenges that are there. And the youth have found ways in order to be able to do that. And it's just the stakeholders, politicians, are finding it harder to, in not all of them, but at least they're finding it harder to enable the society to be able to move it forward in taking to making the country move a step forward in the right direction. So stakeholder challenges are also there. Then there's also mobile penetration, which is coming more from the mobile operators to make that be available in abundance. Then there's also a question of money, whether we like it or not. There'll still be a question of whether these devices are available at cost, and
Hmm.
therefore the availability of cost-effective devices that can be able to foster or have at least one youth, one phone type of mentality. Last
Hmm.
but not least, then becomes how much is the data cost? Yes, we now having an entrenchment of Wi-Fi availability in almost most places, most cafes, most public spaces. But when you go deeper into certain parts of Africa, South Africa and Africa for sure, I'm sure they would agree that there are certain areas where there is no Wi-Fi, there is no cellular penetration, and the cost thereof is also a challenge of its own. And we need to then overcome that infrastructural challenges, allow that to be available to the people, and therefore the people shall communicate upwards. Yeah. And of course,
Hmm.
last, another key thing becomes, once in those communities where technology and all this is there, how do we guard against making sure that they're using that particular technology for the proper use without abusing it? And that's the ethics around using these things that we've got positively. Yeah.
You have covered each and everything, but yes,
Mm,
so what I have take from your thoughts is, first of all, the people, including youth, they are ready to accept the new change. They
mm,
are ready to develop something for the problem, like
mm,
what you rightly mentioned, driver license, right? You have to take a full day.
mm.
In today's world, in the form of the
Yeah,
digitization, why you
yeah,
need
yeah,
all sort of standing in the queue? It's an old story, right?
yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah, correct.
the system is in your phone, right? And then the
Mm, mm,
affordability, that is
yes.
very important,
Mm,
both from a data
mm,
consumption, but both from
mm,
the handset
mm.
acceptance as well. And that
Exactly.
the last one which you referred is the real problem the community has, and what the problem
Mm,
and what the solution you are solving for that in a
correct.
ethical manner, in the
Yes,
compliance manners.
yes, yes.
We understand
Mm.
the cyber securities and all these things are
Yeah,
going
yeah,
more.
yeah, yeah.
So do you want to share some project or any experience which can throw a more light about what the problem was there, how you solve maybe professionally, and or maybe you have seen the communities who are getting it solved?
Yeah, I think one of the prideful projects that I'm actually currently working on that comes through from the government becomes the project that works with smart meters as well, smart meters for electricity and a smart meter for also water. They are all it's a part of a project that is of an existing technology, which is the Internet of Things, IoT, and therefore
Mm,
using IoT technologies in order to enable to address a challenge that exists. If you take water meter, there's a lot of water wastage. In South Africa, we are a water scarce country,
mm,
and therefore water budgeting, if I can use the word, is very key. So therefore, in some of the communities, there's a high wastage of water and no way in which we can be able to be mitigated. And therefore, implementation of a smart meter for water to be able to mitigate and detect leaks of water is a project that is key and very personal to the government and also as the society to help us improve the consumption and preservation thereof of water in the society or in that community as well. The
mm,
second thing for sure for that becomes then the electricity side of things, whereby we have a lot of electricity that in some of the communities, whether we like it or not, people then steal electricity. They jump, as we call it, electricity in order to use the electricity for free, therefore creating a strain in the grid, power grid, and therefore we need to find a way in which we can reduce bypassed electricity in order that everyone can get a fair share of usage of
mm,
electricity. And these two, as an example, are projects whereby I see and continue to experience the positive impact that the technology that we are bringing and are working on into the society, bringing about a positive change into our communities and therefore as a government as a whole. And it will also go a long way towards implementing and helping Africa in essence to be much more smarter using technology on those smart two types of environments positive. For sure, they can also be, this can also be extended into smart health as well, because there's a lot of healthy devices out there. And therefore one can say someone in the rural villages of KwaZulu-Natal can have a smartwatch that reports to the doctor, and then they can be able to know that the person X, their blood pressure is low. Maybe let me send them a message to tell them to do A, B, or C as a doctor. So too many things that we can do. But for now, for starters, we are on the right path in using that positively.
mm. You now that's where the real challenge happens, right?
Mm.
Where
Yeah.
the because we all understand Africa has a lot of scattered population, right? So that has been, and now reaching to the right people, you need a technology. But again, the what I have understood that people are now taking and adopting these new initiatives, and they are using it as per best of their capacity, both in the affordability as well as the availability of the network and the right person connected at the other end. And so
Mm.
this is all getting possible today as we speak.
Mm. Yeah, so that is the thing, to also be able to embrace them and be able to teach them why these
Mm,
technologies are coming through and what are they bridging. And that digital divide is fully being bridged because of this, because then no community now starts to exist in isolation. We now become one connected community, because whether you are there in the rural areas of Pretoria, also of Limpopo, or you are here in the city, there's no difference hardly in that. And so therefore embracing the technology is very key, young or old, you know.
mm.
Yeah.
No, no. Other than technology, if we look at the impression which we have, sitting from different part outside Africa, we still find that there are some lot of education which, or maybe a primary or secondary education which is still there, because most of the people, most of children are and students are staying in villages, and there's then how. I know you are in one of the campaign of helping these people, these students to reach to the next level. So, what the evolution you have seen, and what do you think what should be done in the near time, so that these students who is the who will serve the nation properly, and they should be handled in an effective manner.
I think one of the key things is that part of the charity programs that I'm working with, participating with on a year to year, is what we call classrooms for life, and that is very key, coming from this foundation, the Nelson Mandela Foundation.
Mm.
and it is one of the passionate things that I like being participating in. And the key thing I mentioned that is because you are able to be part of a project that brings about classrooms for
Mm.
communities that did not have classrooms, or even if they did, but they are classrooms of the old days. Now
Yeah.
you bring about newer types of classrooms that are smarter by smart boards, smarter by the fact that they are electrocuted. So there's electrification existing inside these new classrooms. Smarter by the fact that there's also a lab, a computer lab that is being donated as part of that particular charitable foundation as well. Now, what you are doing right there is enabling the students inside or the learners inside those particular communities to have the same look and flair as the ones inside the city. Then you add
Mm.
an instructor or a teacher that is able to enable them to be able to grasp and learn as early as possible at the primary phase, the things that will equip them for the future foundation phase, which will be eventually at the high school and university environment. But the sooner you start it at the primary environment by giving them the tools that are enabling them to be able to be better, then the better it is for all of us, for sure.
Mm. And how is your feeling? You have also trained a lot of students. What
Yeah.
type of question they ask, because they have not seen the whole technology or no, the development which is happening in the urban areas versus the rural which they are staying or suburb they are staying. So what type of question they ask and how excited they are when and what is your fulfillment when you handhold them?
The most of the or the type of questions that one gets a lot more of is there. I want to be like a Elon Musk is a common one. I want to be in the space one day. I want to be a pilot is a common thing actually. That's seems to be there. Most of them also want to be an engineer to design things. They don't know what, but that already tells you that they want to design something, and then others. It has moved from being back in our days when people say, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a doctor, to I want to be an engineer, I want to go to the moon, I want to design, I want to develop something. And then others go like, yeah, while you're developing, I want to own a shop. So that means the person is thinking entrepreneurially, want to sell something. And so these types of teachings are there. And then the fulfillment is when they are already speaking these things without being guided. That is very key. The fulfillment is also when you see the smile in their faces with regards to them having to see you being the anchor point to validating their thoughts,
Mm.
and that in itself tells you that you are in the right path in itself. So that's for me is fulfilling, and you do it over and over again. The clarification sessions that they ask, where someone said no to them, and then they
Mm.
come and ask you a question and you say yes to that particular question, then it yeah, and you give them a yes with justifications why I'm saying a yes. No, no human potential has got any limits. You can go as far, you can reach as far as your mind and your heart takes you, and this is very key. And for them, for me, that is very fulfilling, coming from that, where a person or a young boy or girl says, I want to go out of my community and come back as someone bigger. And then I say, what is
Yeah.
bigger? Say something bigger, like an engineer. Like I would say to them, I've been to A, B, and C places, and then now I'm back to develop or to make it better. So this is good. One boy the other day when I was doing one charity last week says to me, I want to one day come back to my community and say, I want to build this road here. I then ask why. I know why, but I just thought I wanted to hear the why part. Says, because every time it rains, if I don't fall, my friends fall because it's slippery road. So if I
Mm.
can build a road here to my mother's house, then I would have achieved something in my community. This is the mindset. We have a civil engineer here, you
Wow.
know. Yeah,
Mm.
and he's already
Uh,
6 years old.
Wow.
Mhm.
So you can see, the surroundings which is there and the real challenge where the people, where the student, where the whole masses is facing day by day in, so it's a So, it's not about technology. They want
Yeah.
to solve a basic problem, right?
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
basic problem, and that's where they feel pride. And
Hmm.
I can see, I can hear, I can see the confidence when you are talking, and
Yeah.
your tone immediately gets changed. So it's a
Yes.
I understand how passionate you are for them. But
Hmm.
now, the another truth which comes with such type of charity programs, is they have limited budget. you know
Yeah.
you have to
Mm.
support the community. So how you are managing, or how your that campaigns are managing this big roadblock, and what type of support you need you know
Yeah. I think maybe importantly becomes the uh, maybe let me put it differently and say it has to be important. It's important to clarify what the ask is. When the budget is tight, then what the ask is. What are we asking from the potential sponsor, and then be able to show what type of vision also you have in mind, that you want to build a classroom that will be equipped with the most of the things as possible. The end goal is that you want these young people to embrace the fact that they will have a conducive learning environment, that which will be able to resemble what they want to become in the future as well, with role models that they can be able to see. So that's the vision that you have in mind. It's clear. And then comes to the part where you want to say, okay, what partnerships, because budgets are tight, who can
Mm,
I hold partnership A, partnership B, partnership C, using banks as one of them, using community chiefs, and so on, and bring that NGOs together as part of one collaborative session, and then be able to say what type of grants that one can be able to get, and pilot programs, just to enable the vision to say, this is what I have in mind. Imagine if we have a bigger budget, but budget is tight now, but let's do it
mm,
in a pilot program point of view, and be able to see using existing infrastructure, that same school. We're not saying get out of the school, let's build a new school. No, no, no. I just want one classroom. And therefore,
mm,
one person can donate chairs. Another one can say, no, I don't have anything, but I can donate a globe. We're getting somewhere. And so those are the resources that we can be able to harness together to do that. So that makes it very easier as well. But also another thing, that with the budget being a bit more of a tight thing, you are looking at how you can be able to use an implementation of local resources in a place we were at last week, is that all the resources from an implementation point of view came through from the local people. Builder coming from the same community, electrician coming from the same community as well. Uh, and so that, and resources like the bricks and all this, they are all coming from the communities. That in itself helps reduce the budget by using community available resources, immediate resources, in order to move it forward as well. For sure, you have to always try and engage the community in some form or the other. So there's always that uh, ongoing community engagement sessions that are very key. So you can see them as stakeholders, because if you do not put the community in the front for some reason, not for some reason, but it's true, then chances are that your project will not even see the light of day. So you need them to give you the kind support, even if they have nothing to give, just to tell them that the municipality, we're gonna do this, community leader, we're gonna do this, some community experts, we're gonna do this, and you bring them together. By way of involving them, it will help
mm,
improve your transparency with them, because they don't just see the school is busy with people there. They know what it's all about, and then they will also help you to manage someone else that comes through with all the other external bad influence. They'll say no. But most
mm,
importantly, you are building trust towards them as well. But then once you're done with that, then you will see that budget, so that minimum budget that you've got will also be a negligible aspect of all this. And then that is also very
mm,
important to do that. And also the stakeholders like municipality, your electrician from the community, and so on, community chief or something, they will also help keep you in check, to make sure that you are not doing things out of the ordinary. You are still keeping the train moving forward, and then all the other things that you are learning, they also will help. It will help keeping them documented, because someone will remember something that you may forget. And then at the same time, when the classroom or whatever you are trying to put together with that minimal effect will create some small wins, because when you win together. When you fail together. That's I think
True,
the key
true.
thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my view. Yeah.
No, but you raised a very important point. You're
Mm.
actually not making the people a better person. You're making them a leaders. Delegating the
Yes.
work, making them accountable. Guys, if you don't have anything, still you come and contribute. Take this
Yes.
responsibility. Now, maybe,
Yes.
tomorrow you will not be there because of your personal or the professional engagement,
Mm.
but still you have that
Mm.
engine running so that the
Mm.
people are aware that. And
Mm.
I think it's a very good move if you are making this
Mm.
thing in a small pockets. It is going,
Mm.
and and all the pockets are running effectively within their communities. I think that
Mm.
then there's no looking back.
Mm. Mm. There's no looking back, because then once your project is finished and you left them, you are leaving them with a lasting legacy. So
Hmm.
the legacy that they will also like to protect. And that is what you want to do. And maybe when you are gone in your budget and your part in the act of the starting this small little thing, uh, whoever comes with bigger budget, they will build from the little that you've left, and the community will say, "Can we have a community hall?" Once the community hall is built, someone will say, "Can we build something else?" So it keeps growing, and the community becomes better and better. In any case, that's how most cities were built. You look at where New York was in the 1800s, and then how each and every little stakeholder that came through with their little things, they all came through and said, let's build this, let's expand this, let's do that. Statue of Liberty came from overseas,
Yeah.
and so on. San Francisco Bridge was also a donation of things and still stuff like that. So for some reason, to build a community using technology or outside of technology, you will always have outside external contributors
Hmm.
together with the locals to make it work. Yeah.
Oh, no, I totally align with your thoughts.
Mm.
You call
Mm.
it right, 100% right. So I'm 100% with
Yeah.
you. That
Yeah.
how, with a giving a, and you're giving a very important message that, if the
Mm.
Western world is developed like that, why can't we
Yes.
replicate the same story and make
Yeah.
our success stories for the generations?
Yeah, exactly. This is the key to
This
to
is,
say, okay, yeah, they call it decentralize. What you would always say, it's back in the days of Egypt, the kings were the ones that were holding everything to
yeah,
themselves, and now you say, no, 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 decentralize that. Say, allow outside help, and also, and then enable outside help to enable local resources to do better. You know.
true.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
agree. But
Mm.
I'd like to take your opinion and your advice on the evolving and growing startup ecosystem.
Yeah.
Uh, what type of startups you are finding it nowadays, and how the community, like the whole the government and the different communities are supporting them.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend the other day. It was a nonchalant discussion, really, nothing much into it, but it actually got him and me thinking. We have a large number, and I'll come back to the second part because your question has got two answers. And
Yeah.
the first part of it is that it comes from the discussion I had about the illegal mining. South Africa is a mining rich country, and we are not the only one. I mean, Congo is the
Mm.
same, Tanzania is the same, and Botswana here, neighbor country, has got the same. And but I'm sure even in Congo and many other countries is the same, where we've got illegal miners. And then
Mm.
you're like, okay, they are illegal mining on their own country,
Mm,
resources that can be used legally. So they are
mm,
illegally mining for legal things. So now you're
mm,
thinking, so surely somewhere you can look at these illegal miners. We call them zama zamas. Zama zama actually means to try. So they are trying to mine, and then they are
mm,
mining the proper, and then apparently that costs a lot of money from the government that we are not able to get anything out of it because a lot of it goes untraced eventually from a taxation point of view. Then one things, if you were to look at them from a startup point of view and say, okay, let's change legislature and professionalize that service.
mm,
What was now illegal is now legal. And we
mm,
see each and every miner as their own or collective, either individual or as a group of them, they can group each other and say we are a organization, we are a company, and we are a startup. We will mine this to what point? Because a lot of them
mm,
you realize actually they even know different ways and phases of which whatever they are mining, be it gold, be it diamond, whatever they are doing as
mm,
illegal, they actually know the steps. Now you say decentralize them and say who is gonna get the actual digging and who's gonna do the next refinery and many other things. Now you see in them as startup and let the community adopt that. The second phase of it, you say the types of
mm,
startups that exist inside communities then they are mostly around usage of technology in itself from the finance point of view. Gone are the days whereby you go to a street corner in Johannesburg and you find the nice lavish goods, bananas and everything, and sometimes you see watermelons, you're like, I don't have cash. But now you
mm,
say, well, the advent of financial technologies, fintech, is that I can be able to use, example, M-Pesas or MTN mobile money and Vodacom, I forgot, VodaPay, and
Good.
that you can just take out your phone or your watch and say, here's my phone, let me pay you now, and then be able to transact almost immediately and let it be, so that in itself helps with the improvement of the startups or enable the startups by supporting them financially, decentralizing what would have seen as a centrally located type of business that the community are now being enabled to see financial technologies as enabler and revolutionary towards how financial inclusion than an
Mm,
exclusion. I can't buy from you because you don't have a
mm,
point of sale, but now I can buy from you because I like the goods and I can pay. And
yeah.
this is the things that are making it easier. Similarly, when you go to that first startup, which is yours, Amazamas as an example, which are affecting heavily the communities, and these guys are just purely mining. Yeah, there's an element of criminality, but if you were to professionalize it, the criminality will walk away because then they'll know that this is my business here. Similarly, to the person who's selling vegetables or bananas or watermelons, they see their square area, square meter as their area of business. Those guys see their mining wherever they are as their square kilometer of their mining, and they take that with pride because they know that every X amount of time, someone is expecting X amount of kilograms of gold, whatever the case might be, and they see that as I need to also align to the proper business principles through education for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not so hard really to teach a person to sell bananas. Equally, because they know their vegetable markets very well. And equally so, I think the people in the trenches who are illegally mining something can be able to also be seen as a startup of note. And I don't even know why we will even call them startups because the innovations of doing these things have always been there. We're just calling them startups because what, they are not as big as these
Yeah.
biggest supermarkets, then they are startup, you know. Yeah.
You get an empathy factor, because
Yeah.
you don't expect a much immediately in the terms of the cash flow, the ROIs. It's just, and I think another point is with a startup, the investors show a lot of interest. You know,
Indeed, indeed.
we know the maths behind it, yes, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
the reason, the startup word and the
Mm,
is getting more and more popular. But I'd
mm,
like to have one more opinion from you regarding the challenges these startups are having, or maybe there are two questions. One is what the challenges these startups are having, and the second one, what mistakes these startups are doing. because everyone wants to become a startup entrepreneur, right? But so I leave it on you which point you want to take it first, the challenges or the mistakes.
I think the challenge is actually one major challenge in South Africa is the access to funding. Perhaps more so speaks to most of the youth and the startups even in Africa or globally. So it's the access to funding, the funding model that speaks to that type of startups that exist. So that way they have access to what type of funding for what type of startup business that I have, and therefore the support. So one is actually the funding aspect of it, and then of course the support from mentoring and mentorship point of view aspect of it, so that it can always be able to have the consistency. So when you have a mentoring, the mentoring aspect of the funder will be able to allow funding to be consistent as well
Mm.
onto that. But where I think they're getting it wrong is once they have the funding, because it happens a lot of times as well, is they quickly fail to continue to stay on the innovative path, but then they start focusing on what they already have. Remember the old Telefunken and the Sonys and all this, and the former company BlackBerry and so on, all died a slow death because they failed to continuously stay innovative as a startup. And therefore, the innovation, what made your business start in the first place? You have to stay consistent. And therefore, they had, after they got their funding, they stayed on that. Other innovators came through and superseded them, and this business dies slowly. So therefore, the challenges that they have is to continue to innovate so that they can stay abreast of the technologies and embrace competition. Most of them do not want to embrace the competition and learn what is it that my neighbor stall is doing that I can do better for myself as well. Yeah. And that helps with the service delivery models in any case. So when you are able to know that I'm always delivering and buying bananas and watermelons, can I not go and change of season, change of an era? Let me try and see if I can start up with pineapples, and then maybe pineapples because this is the season, maybe that will work better. And at what cost? Can my funders approve that I have a newer type of approach and newer services that I want to deliver as well?
Mm. Very thoughtful.
Mm,
Well, one point I would like to bring based on my experience also is most of the decision is taken by the founder and co-founder. So the teamwork is sometimes gets missed and they don't take a full opinion. I'm not sure how
mm,
it works there, but this is what I'm also facing a challenge. The decision making is biased decisions, you know,
mm.
not a proper
I
thoughtful
think
experience.
Yeah, I think decision making is more about, it speaks more about education and skills
Mm.
development, because those most of the startups they also lack the education and skills development in order for them to be able to understand the nature of their own business and what the future of their own business hold. And therefore, in a team environment, from a uh, from a skills development, they are also able to understand and harness the different types of skill sets that they've got in their own environment, or if it's a company that it is individually owned, understand what type of skills you would need to have, and and under what basis does my business exist, and who is it serving. Once you lose plot of who you are serving, then your business will not be able to grow anything beyond what it is right now. So that's very key. Embracing things that are already there. Some of the businesses, for sure, some of the startups are based on a particular community and serving that. And therefore, continue to embrace that and then also learn from it to develop for advancement of your own society as well. That's very important. Yeah. Mhm.
For a few minutes, let's say I give you a magical power. I say,
Mhm.
you have a magical wand. Now, the community which you are serving or the village which you are serving, right? How you visualize or how you paint that village, what you expect that village should be, you know. I want to go creative and wild enough, right?
Mhm. I think if I take a quantum leap into the village that can be before me, and you want them to advance and be able to look like a community of Santin, key thing is to acknowledge what type of problem that we have. Perhaps as an
Mm.
example, we are in a village that is rich with agricultural things. Now you say to them, okay, since we are an agricultural community, we need
Mm.
to embrace agricultural technologies, solutions that can be able to help our people. Since we are planting season in, season out, what if we can be able to help my community understand the weather app and use the
Mm.
weather app to know what type of seasons can come through, be able to go into market prices that exist so that they're able to know how much is the price of the bananas or the avocados or meal that we are
Mm.
planting. I saw the other multiple years, but they are just the other months ago. There's the usage of drone technology in order to see from the air what my call it my garden, what is it, my farm or
Yeah.
farms look like, and which area water seems to be sitting, which area seems to be affected more by lack of water, which area has got more water, in order to help those small scale and big scale farm holders in order for them to increase their farm outputs and therefore reduce their agricultural risks that can exist, and be able to use the technology thereof to help my community, farming community, in order to make sure that we are as food secure as much as possible. So that is for me a village that is circulating around a village that is circulating around farming. And that farming can not only be about just farming as in crop farming, but it can also be what you call it, animal farming as well.
Yeah.
That I can see
Livestock.
a pattern of using technology, pattern of where my sheep or goats or whatever, where do they mostly spend their time, and can I use again drone, or can I use a
Mm.
technology or a chip
Or
that
sensors.
or sensors to enable me to know where are they in order to yield the maximum out of that. So that's key. But for sure,
Mm.
not only do I have to look at my farm, do I look at the animals, but I also have to look at the well-being of my people. So
Yeah.
their health is important too. We're living in the days of cancerous environment. So therefore, it's important to embrace telemedicine. That while they're in the sun, are they well taken care of? Do they hydrate? Can I put devices in their arms that when they are driving their tractors, it's something beeps and says, "Hey, have you drank 1 liter of water up to this point?" It is a these are call it a AI powered diagnosis of sort that I can
Mhm.
be able to say it's able to help them digitally to remember to embrace that. That's for me is the future, the today and the future of farming of my community, and you can embrace that to even our townships as well, to our schools. We will have a healthier environment.
So you're developing that platform as an enabler to have a multiple use case, because every use case is a multi-billion dollar economy, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
and that's if it works there, it will work across the globe, because that's where
yes.
because the foundation problem is still the same.
Yes, that is true. Foundation problem is still the same. You want we want our people to live as long as possible and produce as much as they can, and therefore you want your farming community, as in your goods and services, to have longevity, but you also want your people resources to also have longevity. So you have two happy things that are happening, and in the middle of that is that youth that says I can be able, I own that business, and I'm doing well out of it. So we are embracing the technology in that aspect, and
And
supported by
that's
the government. Let's not forget
yes.
the
Yeah,
government aspect
yeah.
of it.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, I will put it into the challenge. But yes, if the things are
Yeah,
moving, definitely,
yeah.
everyone will pay their interest, will
Mm,
ready
mm,
to invest, not
mm,
from only from
mm,
the money perspective, but also giving the approvals,
mm,
not the money
mm,
always.
mm,
Approvals are immediate
mm,
approvals. The people should not
mm,
stand, in the
mm,
queue to get their
mm,
driving license renewal. All these things are which is actually impacting the life of a people, right? Which make them to improve and become more productive. So,
So that is true. Another thing when that comes to mind is that
yeah.
I was looking at here in one of the, is it CNN or was it BBC Tech? But anyway, it's something tech, and but it's one of the two platforms, media platforms, and they're talking about how Africa has got the world's youngest population, and then I look at there some. So that means that as Africa, the entire 54 plus states, we actually hold the world's most success story when it comes to unlocking potential of technology. Tech potential is sitting with Africa more than anything else. So you can imagine when you were to have at each and every country some sort of accelerators or sort of incubators that can be able to help this youth to be able to navigate and support them to solving local problems of any kind. Anyway, just a thought.
No, it's a no, but these thoughts are if you don't think, you will never execute. So
Yes, indeed.
my mentors also always tell me that Deepak, there are two things happen. One is the what you want to become or what you want to see, that should come in your mind. So your right mindset. And yes, execution is the key. You don't, you should not become a daydreamer. You should be a focus. But yes, I understand what from where you are coming from, what challenges you have seen, what are and I really want to thank you because you are not working in the 9 to 5 zone. You're working and you're taking an extra step and contributing and giving back to the society, and this takes a lot of courage. I'm pretty much sure your family time is also being hampered. It's not an easy thing. You have to balance each and every part, but this type of extra efforts is giving you that leverage, that edge, which is not giving back to you, but it is giving back to the society in a coming time. I really thank
No,
you.
thank you so much. No, it's true. I think the support from the family is very key towards enabling. You are belonging to the world. Sometimes you feel you are overextending yourself too much and then little left for the family. But you have to find eventually the common strike of balance in making it work. For sure, it's all for the sustainability of humankind and building a robust network of people out there that which they can have their own confidence towards moving ahead, help communities in some way or form to adopt and become better. That's very key.
So, George, I really want to thank you. And
Yeah.
this conversation, is packed with a lot of insights.
Yeah.
I'm able to visualize Africa from your lens, because generally on a business trips you generally have a limited scope, but I can now feel that how the Africa looks like, the potential around it, the youth, the real challenges. Obviously, it's a short time to discuss all the challenges, but the best part is
Yeah.
the people have taken the initiatives. So you as a leader has taken the initiative, you have given a clarity, and obviously it's not only the technical part, but it is about the human factor. So any last message which you want to share?
I think one of the last bits that I would like to share is the fact that everything, unfortunately, will always come to the top end of it, which is more a political and economic volatility that seems to, if we can address that change of leadership in our political spheres, also affect our economic viability. And also that in itself affects the youth down the line. So therefore, and can tend to derail many projects. But for sure, with economic stability, we can then be able to have better investments, the appetite out there. So therefore, to anyone that will be listening and looking at this interview, we are therefore appealing. Let us put into our communities political stability of leadership so that we can be able to prioritize our budgets in order to make sure that we fast track, put into motion proper projects that are enabling our communities for future generations to come. Yeah.
Right, rightly said, and you are,
Mm,
spot on the real challenge. So,
yeah.
a message to everyone: if something is, someone wants to understand more about what is going in the Africa in the technology sector, how they can spare their time to speak and make a balance, because there are so many professionals who want to contribute back to the society,
Mhm,
but they are stuck with their either in 9 to 5 or within their family chores. But how to gain that balance of whom to speak with? Yeah,
mhm.
it's George. So George, what will be the
Thank,
right way of connecting with you if anyone wants to connect?
yeah, I am on LinkedIn under my name, full names, George T. Mashinini, and I'm also available on Instagram as well as on Facebook under the same names. So those are the two areas of social media that I'm at. Those that are in social media, but more on the sporting side, will find me on Strava, which is the common platform for runners and cyclists. So I'm also going under the same name, George T. Machining. Then we can be able to communicate either socially, or we can connect on work on LinkedIn. So either way, we can take it further for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I will tag you when we are going to post it, so that your name will be reaching to the most of the professional, the 50,000 people who are connected with us, and I'm pretty much sure you will get
Mm.
a lot of response. So be ready for
Yeah.
accepting their request.
Okay, thank you. I
Right.
appreciate
So, thank you, George,
Yeah.
for your valuable time,
Yeah.
and thanks for providing all the insights. I
Mm,
love your confidence. I love the extra mile which you are moving, as always. And yes,
mm.
if anything is done from the value seller community, we are happy to contribute in your journey as well.
No,
Thank,
100%. Thank you so much.
thank you. So, to the audience, until next time, this is Deepak Bajaj signing off. Thank you so much.